Okay, hello everyone who is watching our YouTube live stream or the recording of this week's growth call. I'm Christoph Atteneder and I'm your host today. As always, I already posted the Google Hangout invitation link in the chat on the left. So if you want to join us here in the live stream, feel free to do so. If you just want to watch us live, you can post your comments and questions in the live chat and we'll try to answer them as good as possible. Our growth calls, like the one today, are all about growing the Bisq network itself. If you don't know it by now, Bisq is the only true decentralized exchange out there to exchange fiat with cryptocurrencies or crypto with other cryptocurrencies. If you're interested, look at Bisq, and there are more and more coming online every day. And I will link the links to the videos in the description below after the call. Yeah, it was a really busy week for all Bisq contributors. On the one hand side, there was lots of testing, trading, and voting going on testnet within the Bisq DAO. And we just released a couple of hours ago, actually, a new release version 0.91. I'm also really glad to have today Max and Steve in the call with me. Max is a new contributor for the Bisq network, and Steve already is in the Bisq network for a longer time. But maybe we can do a super short introduction round. Steve, Max, maybe Steve, do you want to?
Sure. My name is Steve. I've been contributing to Bisq for several months now, mainly on messaging. I've done some docs, some copy-related items on the website and on the app, and I guess lately a lot of website JavaScript type stuff. Right now I'm working on some DAO-related docs that I'm hoping to push through either today or tomorrow.
Cool. Yeah. Max, do you want to go next?
Still having trouble with the audio, but it should work now.
It's fine.
Yes. Okay, good. Yes, I'm really excited to join one of these growth calls. I've been using Bisq for several months or many blocks now, and I've been talking to many peers about using this amazing decentralized marketplace. And I'm absolutely in love with it, and I'm excited to be part of this much more now and be more active in the contribution process. So I've made now 9 videos, which are available on the World Crypto Network, in a step-by-step tutorial on how to use the new version of 0.9.1. And just showing the beautiful user interface and how easy this marketplace can be. So I already got some really nice feedback, and that the new users that are now introduced to Bisq are no longer fearful because decentralized exchanges always sound so difficult and so scary, but they now really have realized how easy and intuitive the user interface is. So I'm glad to have supported the network in a little bit, and I'm looking forward to being much more active in the collaboration with many more videos to come.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, let's get right into it. We have a lot of stuff to cover. Before I will start with the new release, which was just released a couple of hours ago, I want to give you a super short platform app update. So I looked at the numbers today, and it looks really, really good. So the average daily trades went up 10% this month already compared to the last month. The daily Bitcoin volume went up 24%. The only thing that went down because of the Bitcoin price is the US dollar volume. So we see now 7% less if you just look at the US dollar volume. And we are at the moment around 2.7 million US dollar trading volume. And we might end this month again, similar like last month, around 6 million again. So let's see how it will turn out, especially for the days and the new year to come. Yeah. Yeah, let's get back to the interesting stuff, to our new release today, and why you should update actually. You should update because now in version 0.91, it is now possible again to switch between testnet and mainnet in the client. It was possible using a command line argument to start the app from the command line in testnet. But you, in the settings, there is a Bitcoin network switching possibility. I will just quickly show it to you. Just give me a sec to share my screen. So here, can you see?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So that's the current Bisq client, and I'm in the DAO section. And if you want to try out the Bisq DAO, you have to go into Bitcoin testnet. So you go to the settings, general preferences, and select network. So there are two options, mainnet and testnet. And you can do this with your client that you also use for regular trading, because the testnet client will have a separate data directory, so there it's not corrupting your existing mainnet data directory. So that's super safe. So you can just switch to testnet, restart the client, and it will be in testnet from that point on. And as soon as you are in testnet, you can do everything you want. You can buy Bisq in the marketplace, the BSQ in the marketplace. You can vote, you can create proposals. At the moment, we are still in the proposal phase, so you have a couple of blocks left to write your compensation request or try something out. And early tomorrow, the voting phase will start. So yeah, it would be great if you just try out the Bisq DAO on testnet and give us feedback, file bugs. That helps a lot to get the Bisq DAO on mainnet as quickly as possible. So I will stop the screen share again. Back to that's the number one, which was introduced in this new release. So the switching between testnet and mainnet. The other problem we saw were update issues with the, especially on Windows, with the new installer. We tried to fix it as good as possible with this release. So we are cleaning up the app directory, we are cleaning up the Tor data directory as good as possible. So it should fix most of the problems on Windows if you're updating. Also, you have now nice icons finally on Windows as well again. Before that, you just had this default Java. We fixed stuff for installation. If you still have issues, which can happen, then there is some information on the release page how to work around that. Sometimes it's antivirus software related or Windows Defender related. But most of the problems should be gone with this update. Another point that was fixed in this release was mainly, you might have recognized it in the Bisq DAO on testnet, that if you really quickly switch between screens, sometimes the screen kind of didn't redraw parts of the screen. This was a weird render bug of the Java UI framework we're using, and we were fixing that. We were able to fix that. So that's another point why you should update. And the last point might not be so much an issue if you already have the Bisq client running. It's the initial startup time of the client. What we changed is we're using a Java library to abstract the Bitcoin implementation details for the Bitcoin blockchain. It's called Bitcoin J, and Bitcoin J has a checkpoint file included, which is basically a kind of a small database with storing the block headers, which are used in SPV mode of the Bisq client. And before, we had a really old checkpoint file included in the Bitcoin J library, and which caused a lot of downloading of the Bitcoin blockchain. And now we are updating it with every release. So the initial startup time, if you install Bisq client for the first time, should be way shorter. And you shouldn't have super CPU spikes because so much data is loaded and parsed. And yeah, of course, there are lots of smaller improvements and changes within this release. So I think it's really worth doing the update. And as you saw now with 0.91, we have our release cycles back at the point where we want to have them, roughly once a month. So you should be expecting 0.92 to happen sometime mid of January. And we try to keep this cadence for the next couple of months, especially until the Bisq DAO is live. Yeah, with our 0.90 release, we also relaunched the design of Bisq, and on every platform actually related to that. And for example, the new website, Pedro made really nice design concept, and also worked together with Steve, who is also in the call today, on the website, on the market website. And Steve will show us quickly a little bit the new website, and especially, which is interesting, we'll talk about some insights on the numbers, how this website actually is a success, or if it's a success or not since the relaunch, which is very important for us as well. Steve, do you want to take over for now and share a screen?
Sure. Yeah. Let me share my screen.
Maybe in the meantime, I think, Christoph, you've missed one important upgrade that was part here of the version 0.9.1, and that is the removal of the Bcash token, which I think is a beautiful display on how such a decentralized system can defend itself against toxic participants such as the Bcash, who have now repeatedly threatened the Bitcoin ecosystem. And I like the approach that Manfred took of querying in GitHub who was in favor. And it turns out that most people would want to remove such a toxic participant. And it worked out beautifully, and swift recourse, and now no more Bcash on Bisq, which I do believe is a really nice removal.
Yeah. So I don't have a strong opinion on this kind of stuff. And I think just in general, it is with all decisions in the Bisq network, it's dependent on the stakeholders. So everyone can file pull requests for their coins. We just have on every coin that smells like ICO or security, just to be on the safe side until the Bisq DAO is live. And for all tokens that are live, we can try it out on testnet already. On mainnet, you can just put a token for vote if you think it's a scam, and you want to protect the users from Bisq from certain coins. Then it's put up for a vote. If it gets a consensus, it will be removed. It's just a very transparent process, and this time it was Bitcoin Cash who was voted out from the stakeholders. Sorry, Steve. I will put you present to everyone.
Sure. Can you guys can you see my screen?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Cool. So this is the new website. You can see it follows a new aesthetic that's very similar to the aesthetic that you see on the Bisq program. I guess the one thing to note here is if you visit the website from your phone, iPhone or Android, you should see a link to download our new notification app that will send you notifications for your trades and other events on your phone. And that's the most notable thing on the front page. What I want to focus on is the markets page, where you'll see an overview of this top graph has volume on Bisq network. You see the number of trades and then the volume in BTC for the week, for each week. Below that, you'll see trade history of what's been trading on Bisq.
Steve, just a short question. Where is the data coming from?
Yeah, the data is coming from the API. If you go to markets.bisq.network/API, There's actually a few endpoints there. The data is coming from there. There's also, I can probably just show it to you. Yeah, so there's volume, price, a whole bunch of data. You can explore it for yourself here, but that's where the data is being pulled from.
Yeah, I really like the design which is used in the markets page.
Yeah, it's really cool. So if you go to look up a particular currency, if you want to see what the market is like for that, it's pretty cool because you can see the existing order book without having to open Bisq. If you want, just at the kind of click of a button, you can see the buy offers and sell offers for the currency you're interested in. And of course, if you want to do other coins, other cryptocurrencies, you could do, for example, XMR. Monero is a big market on Bisq. So you can see that as well. And like I mentioned, the data is coming from the API that's located over there at markets.bisq.network/API. Of course, the site looks good. I think feedback in general for the new aesthetic has been very good. But what's even better is that the performance has been through the roof. This is, I guess, not related to the website directly, but you can see here just breakdown of downloads from the website by platform, by OS. So you can see most Bisq users, at least who download the software from the website, are Windows users, and we have a chunk of Mac, and also a fair number of Ubuntu-based Linux users. But if you look at the numbers,
just one thing, Steve. That was we just were talking shortly before the call. There was also what kind of surprised me when I looked at the numbers, that we have that big chunk actually of Windows users who download the app from Windows, compared to Mac and Linux. I'm not sure if it's because all the Linux guys built from source, or of course the Windows just the install base is so much bigger than Mac. That's clear from my point of view. But I was kind of surprised that we have so many Windows users.
Yeah, definitely. But I think even even compared to, I think if you compare it to any other more traditional software project, the number of Linux and Mac users we have are still higher by a lot than others, just relatively speaking.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
very true. But it's part on us and especially I do believe the Bisq client can show the power of free software. So absolutely, maybe we can get that number up a notch.
Yeah, that would be great. Looking at, so this is download statistics for the Bisq software compared, I guess, with the last release, the 0.8 release.
Yeah, it was the second last or third last release now. Yeah, it's 0.80 in August, in summer.
Yeah. So that was, I guess, back in August, and you can see the numbers are just tremendous. Over 100% increase release on release for downloads, which I think is just a tremendous achievement for everybody. There's a clear shift in the line and the trend.
Could you maybe move the chart to the monthly view?
This is a static image.
Okay.
So I can't do that, but the release hasn't been out it's been about a week or so. So I don't know if a monthly release or a monthly view would be too helpful at this point in time. But maybe on a future growth call, we can see a monthly view. The other thing I want to note is website performance overall. So you can see here another clear shift up from the week before the release, the 0.9 release, and the week of the release. 30-40% increases across the board. You can see in particular the amount of time people spent on the website went up. The number of pages people visited on the site on average also went up. Just everything is just, I think, very favorable. So I guess nice looking website. Pedro, all credit goes to Pedro, but performance also significantly increased. So I don't think there's much more you could ask for.
Yeah, that's the most important part for me, actually. that it improves in performance. Of course, I also enjoy it a lot if a website is looking really nice. But yeah, it also fulfills what we are aiming for. And yeah, we have to see also just in general the conversion rate looks way better than before from users visiting and downloading the software. And yeah, let's see how it looks like after a couple of weeks. But if we are able to get more people to try out the Bisq client through having a nicer website and more easy download link, yeah, then we are already one step further to kickstarting the platform even more.
Definitely, yeah.
Yes, and the video specifically that I made for how to install the Bisq client got really, really positive feedback, and over 600 views already. And what I've heard now repeatedly was the feedback that it is so easy to install and use this software, and that the user interface is really intuitive. So it is, I believe, a really strong sign on how easy it nowadays is to use this beautiful piece of software, which is, of course, a positive sign, not just for the entire user experience, but also for the user interface.
Yeah, I think videos help a lot. Sorry, I still pinpoint you, Steve. Just stop presenting. I think videos. Let's see. Yeah, I think videos help a lot because for me personally, when I tried it out for the first time a year ago, it was a lot about trust and also expectation. Also, I haven't used any trading software before, especially this paradigm, this buy and sell offers was kind of new to me, and I wasn't sure, do I do the right thing? What's about the deposit? Do I make a mistake, or will I lose money? And if you just can watch, okay, how is the process, how it should look like if everything goes fine, and if I have the feeling, yeah, other people are using it all the time and it works, then I'm feeling more comfortable, and we have to go into that direction to for first-time users, to take them on their hand and slowly introducing the client what they need to do to use it in a proper way. Also with the wallet setup, how to back up the client so you're not losing money later on. So if you just jump into trading and you buy Bitcoin and then you destroy your data directory and then you just lose all your money. So we have to show our user base how to do it the right way, how to buy Bitcoin the right way, or other cryptocurrencies, or how to sell Bitcoins. And yeah, I think if we continue to push in that direction, then yeah, it will be nice. Of course, we will never be as smooth as a centralized marketplace, but I think there's enough headroom where we can improve our client a lot.
Well, but even compared to centralized marketplaces, the fact that there is such a non-existing registration process is really, really powerful. And you can start from zero to buying your first Bitcoin within, well, if you're fast and if you know what you're doing, 5 minutes, which is fantastic. And yes, if you're new, you have to try something out and watch maybe a couple tutorials and read the very good documentation. But nevertheless, it is super intuitive and very easy. So I would not sell Bisq short, even compared to centralized exchanges. The user experience is phenomenal.
Yeah, but yeah, of course you need Bitcoin first to be able to trade on Bisq. So that's a big hurdle in the beginning also. But that's also stuff that we could communicate easily for people. How to acquire the first Bitcoins in a safe way, off site, also not on Bisq, but somewhere else. And yeah, as soon as you have some Bisq or you borrowed Bisq from a friend, Bitcoin from a friend, then you can trade in a secure, privacy-aware way on Bisq, and yeah, that's what we're aiming for. Yeah, just a question for everyone who is watching us live at the moment. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat. all quite short because there's still lots of work to do, and we want to use all our time to push for the next release and to polish the Bisq DAO code for testnet as good as possible. Until you wrote the questions in the chat, I want to point out two possibilities how you can contribute right now to Bisq and where we need help. One thing I mentioned already is testing. So download the latest client, switch your Bitcoin network setting, a mainnet to testnet, and just try out the Bisq DAO there. So for most of the stuff, you need BSQ token to vote, to create proposals. There are offers available to buy Bisq on testnet, but you can also just join us on Slack, go to the DAO channel, and ask that you want to have some Bisq for testing, and post your address, your testnet address there, and we'll send you some Bisq token for testing. And at the moment, we're still in, I mentioned it, we're still in the proposal phase. So that's the phase where you can file compensation requests. You could put up altcoins to be kicked out. You can create bonded roles. So there's a lot of stuff to do and to try out. There are introductional videos from Max, from Steve, from Manfred, together with Aruna. So there's lots of stuff to test, and we need your feedback, especially if you find something that is maybe confusing or just doesn't work as expected. File an issue on GitHub, and we try to fix it as good as possible. So that's the one thing where we need help in testing on testnet. The other thing where we need always support, we want to have for our mainnet release a very polished client also from the translation side. So Bisq is not only available in English, but I think we have 8 or 9 languages already included in the client, but they are not fully translated. So we are looking for people who help us translate in German, Greek, Spanish, Portuguese, Serbian, Chinese, Hungarian, Romanian, Russian, French, Vietnamese, Thai. So if you do speak any of these languages native, I will post the link afterwards in the description. Please join us on Slack. There's a channel, it's called Transifex. That's the tool we're using for translating a Bisq client, and we'll guide you from there. And I will also just post the link to the Transifex tool in the description below as well, so you can just join Transifex, request that you are a translator, for example, for Spanish, and I will just give you permissions to translate the Spanish and review the Spanish translations. So that's the second thing. Sorry, yeah?
Oh, I was going to say, Christoph, I think we should mention that the for people interested in testing, I think the proposal phase is close to ending. I don't know the exact time, but for people who want to see the whole cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think when we started the call, it was 10 blocks left, but MC just posted it's just over. Yeah. So now we are. You still can now test. You can test the voting phase, and it's not like it will be a mainnet where we have more kind of this monthly cycle. It's all the phases are super short, just a couple of days, so everyone can try out in 1 month. I think we might have 5 to 7 cycles in 1 month, so you have the chance to experience every step of one of the full cycles in a Bisq DAO. So yeah.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, and especially regarding the being active in the community and reaching out and collaborating and supporting, just do it. Right? You don't have to ask much for permission, and find something that you are good at and support wherever you can. And that can be as easy as just talking to friends and explaining them how it works, and holding their hands for the first setup. which, as Christoph said, is rather scary the first time. But it, of course, can be making videos or podcasts, as I have done, just by doing it, and of course also being active on GitHub and not only doing code commits if you have the skills, but also helping out in documentation. So there are 1,001 ways of possibilities of you can support the Bisq DAO, and please be active. And of course, join us in the Slack, which already has over 800 active users and contributors there. So if you have questions or any other way, please feel free to reach there.
Yeah, that's one thing I really like on the project. No matter if it's on weekends, at night or daytime, there's really nearly every time somewhere available, and we are very responsive whenever possible. So yeah, it's really, and yeah, working together, creating this kind of software. And I think it's important for everyone to participate, which skill set that's available. If you have an engineering background, yeah, we have lots of stuff to do. For that, if you haven't an engineering background, there's even more stuff to do. So we have a full repository with different roles. I can also link it afterwards in the description. And I think there's, as Max said, we have something for everyone. Yeah, if you want to help, you can help. And yeah, we need any help that's possible. Yeah, if there are any other questions, I would just wrap it up. Max, Steve, anything you want to say before we close the call?
Maybe for the future things that I have planned on personally collaborating and contributing is doing more in-depth videos. So we had a little talk beforehand, and I do believe that having a video for every chapter in the documentation is useful. So for example, just a in-depth video that is still short and accessible about, for example, how to do the backup with a screen share and step-by-step would be useful. So this will be coming in the hopefully near future. And I also believe that because the Phase 0 white paper is so dense and long, that having a audiobook version of that would also be cool. So I might sit down the next couple of days and record a audiobook version of that. That goes hand in hand with the already awesome white paper.
Yeah, great, thanks. Yeah, so lots of stuff that is happening around the Bisq network, and I'm really excited for the next release, and especially for the Bisq DAO mainnet launch next year. Okay, see you again soon. We'll have another call before Christmas, and I think there's another week left for New Year, before New Year as well. Yeah, and as I said already, you can expect roughly mid of January the next release of the Bisq client. Thanks for watching, and see you again next week. Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Oh.